Well, thank you for watching our Targeted West video on YouTube, um, Bitchute, and archive.org. My name is DJ Chris, and I'm your moderator and host today. It is Sunday, the 21st of August, 2022, and 6 p.m. right now in beautiful Lodi. I'm man in the middle. I'm not a violent uh, terrorist. I'm just talking about fourth industrial revolution technology and trying to figure out why I have telepathy or people talking in my head that are like terrorists. So I'm trying to solve that with you listening in, and you give me your input and tell me what you think, and I give you topics to talk about. And we'll start right now. The first topic is kind of CIA oriented. The first one is Chris Hedges and John Karaoke about the history of the CIA and how, speaking of crack pipes, how they created the crack epidemic in the minority community. And I think they created the meth addiction in the gay community. I'm pretty sure. But this is about the CIA and about how they've turned from being more of a disturbance to more of a hitmen that after 9/11 just basically go out and assassinate people. They don't even talk to them or to interrogate them or torture them anymore. And that was the interview with Chris Hedges. Chris Hedges is blacklisted everywhere. John Karaoke went to prison. So they would be perfect to tell you the truth about that organization. And I think it's behind some of this technology, at least the talking part of it is them. I'm sure there's other groups and organizations and big, gigantic industrial complexes in the military providing technology also in Silicon Valley. So, yeah, of course. Yeah. So that's a discussion on TI Club 3 on my Twitter page, and I put that video and the audio of them interviewing each other, talking. And it's I got a couple books out of it too, and I was able to get a video of Dianne Feinstein saying that the CIA had hacked into their investigation group as they were investigating the CIA. The CIA hacked into them, and Dianne Feinstein was reprimanding the CIA, and I put that video on there that I gleaned out of that conversation. Do you think they're involved in this? Well, that's a topic you can discuss, and when the mic's open in a few minutes. They talk about the CIA and the different crimes they do, and basically doing hit jobs. They're assassins mostly, and they've changed their whole tune from what they did before to more of a mafia organization, basically. Not to be mean, and it's not like I don't like the CIA. I'm just saying it's a concerning interview, and your discernment will make you decide what you think about our country's organizations that keep everybody safe. So, it's up to you to decide. I just provide the information. Next is Poisoner in Chief. That's the TI Book Club book that I'm reading right now. I read 1/3 of it, and it put me in a depression. So, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb is the person they're speaking of, and that's the Poisoner in Chief of the CIA. He's a Jewish guy from the Bronx, and they can't walk very well. He's got bad feet, and so, he was heckled and ridiculed by kids, so I guess this is his way to get back, is to join the CIA and make poisons and stuff for people to die. And he was involved with the LSD, with the MK Ultra, Project Artichoke, Bluebird, and the book is very detailed. It goes into quite a detail about how he at night goes home to his little woods, little house with a garden and everything, and goes back and makes death decisions at the CIA. And of course, he was involved with Operation Climax, and he'd get a hook or two every once in a while and go to San Francisco or New York and all that. And he did LSD. Matter of fact, they were putting LSD in each other's drinks and food, and the punch that you drank at the parties. Frank Olson was mentioned in it. He was at a camp event in a campground in the woods, and they gave him some LSD that made him trip out, and he started to have doubts about working for the CIA, and all of a sudden he jumps out the window, and that's the end of that. Of course, he gave the wife full benefits, but if you want to read more, that's Poisoner in Chief, and that is our current book we're all reading in the TI Book Club, and you can check the books we have out on the TI Club Twitter page. That's what TI Club 3 is about. So it was all started with a book club. I hope you're doing well. My name is DJ Chris, and it's still early. Got a good crowd. I have a little sip of my RC Cola. Let me change screen view, gallery view. There we go. I can see everybody now. I had the wrong person. Yeah, it looks like Hollywood Squares. I like it when you guys look like you're in Hollywood Squares, because then I can see who's there. Oh, hello, hugs to caller 00. You're having some heavy thunderstorms this evening. Oh my goodness. Well, be safe. Don't stand outside. I hope you have a safe place to go. My goodness, we'll be praying for you, Lando caller. I know that's you, because that sounds like you were in the middle of that, having that coming in your area. So next item is how advances technology, and that was gleaned from the Twitter. And someone asked me, I asked because I couldn't come up with any ideas of topics for our call tonight. So I asked out in the public, the TIs came up with some ideas, and I incorporated them. If you have any. If you have any ideas or suggestions, send them to djchris@targetedwest.com, and I will include them in my conference or your work group conference that we all attend. So how advanced is technology? Some say it's 100 years advanced. Some say it's 10 in the military. The fourth industrial revolution is now, although a lot of fourth industrial revolution is really third industrial revolution stuff just carried over so that it could be more accepted. Oh, it's new technology. It'll cure brain diseases. Right. How advanced is technology? There's an article I put on the TI Club 3 Twitter page for you to read. And it goes into some detail. At the moment, I can't exactly remember what the different things were, but it's very interesting how the military is way advanced ahead of what the consumers and the public knows about. And that will go into detail about it. It's 10 after. Next is my shrink, and I have an appointment on the video every 3 months, and I talked to her, and I told her I'd do this podcast and wrote a couple books, and she seemed very interested, but I was talking so much I never let her talk, hardly. Maybe I didn't want to hear her answer is what it was, subconsciously. Maybe I just, or was it that I had too much coffee? Hold on a second. My Mr. Fluffy's here. He's my main OG cat. Come into the door. That's a good sign. Can't depend on people to take care of the cats around here. They disappear and people don't feed them or make arrangements. That really upsets me because I'm a cat lover and keep track of the cats around here in the Lodi RV park. So I went to the 3-month video conference with her, and I guess I'm okay, and I'm, doing well. I told her the world's gone to shit, and she didn't say yes or no, and I told her, about what we talk about on this call, and all that, and she didn't throw me in a mental hospital or up my meds. So I think doctors are starting to have an open mind, especially when I have to pay her cash and she depends on it instead of a doctor that gets paid at a hospital that doesn't have an incentive to run a business of their own. So she's going to be probably more receptive because of that. So, I don't think she wants to tilt the cart or bite the hand that feeds her. So she's probably just not going to say anything, is what I think. But I got it out. I've always told her that half of me believes it's organic and half of me believes it's something else, and it could be technology, it could be spiritual, whatever. You just have to have an open mind. But it's funny, I'm more open on these. So if you need to talk to a therapist, they're not as bad as you think they are. The only problem is finding a good one. The ones that the county pays for or the ones that the city's programs have are usually interns or big people starting out, and some of them are kind of rough because you can't get people to work for that little money that aren't going to be a little rough. And I've had personal experiences with county clinic people that are starting out, and they're pretty rough. So you got to be very careful who you talk to about this too. You can't just start out talking about it. You got to work your way up and see how the waters are to this person you're speaking to. Maybe it's just best not to bring it up to them. Is there a real reason we need to? The only reason I do it is because I'm trying to educate her, my doctor. Plus, we had a billboard around the corner from her office that Ella put up, which I have a picture of on my TargetedWest.com page under the info blog, where you see the Ella billboard. Click on it, and you can see that. Now I have it on my website, and my doctor was right around the corner, and I mentioned that to her too, and she doesn't say anything. So that's subtopic. Have you had any good experiences with therapists or psychiatrists, or have you had lousy experiences with them? I've had both good and bad. I've been seeing this doctor for 18 years, and she's cool. So I'm not worried. Plus, she doesn't put her notes in a computer for the county and the university and whomever to see. Hers are all written on paper, and she doesn't do that. So she's private. If you were going to go to somebody, I would go to a private person if you need to. And there's 988, which you can call now if you need help. I've talked about that in the call before. It's a national suicide hotline, and me and myself and others had the suicidal ideologies before. And there's Dave the dope fiend walking by my RV. And they were pushing the suicidal beam at me and others, and we all got through it. So it's good to talk about it to your friends and peers and associates. Make sure you have them so you don't have to call 988 or get a therapist if you need one, unless you want medications, which are fine. Some people want medications, some don't. I don't recommend them because they keep changing the generic brands, and there is a difference between generic brands. Don't let them fool you. Next item, and it's quarter after, is the tinnitus relief report. I posted on Twitter TI Club 3, and one of the suggestions for tinnitus is to use melatonin. I didn't know that. So have any of you tried melatonin in the chat room? Wake up, chat room. Have any of you tried melatonin to relieve your tinnitus, and have you had any relief from that? Let me know. That's a topic of discussion. Everybody's got tinnitus, whether you got the telepathy or not. And it's a phenomenon. It's just so much. Oh, it does? Ooh. Hello, Sets. I have the appropriate amount of cookies for tonight, so I'm glad you're here. Sets is my cookie monitor. He's a cookie engineer, distribution engineer. You didn't like melatonin? I didn't like it either. I don't use melatonin. I use cannabis to sleep. Cannabis does everything you ever need, including making you eat too many cookies so you have a chin. Caller made a cheap Reuben. Did you use spam? You have to use spam. I hope you use spam. Whitey. Hey, Whitey. Hello. I hope everybody has spam in their pantry. Oh, you use Star-Kissed tuna. Reuben with Star-Kissed tuna. That's even, my cats eat Star-Kissed tuna. Yeah, they ate out of bags of cigarettes before and burnt food and crap and baby diapers, so they can get a little tuna. It's not going to kill them, the metals in it or whatever. It's okay. So the tinnitus relief, you tried melatonin, made you depressed. Another person didn't do anything. Okay, well, go to the Twitter page, TI Club 3, and there's a complete list of what you can try to reduce the tinnitus. I'll take a break for a moment while you guys... Oh, look, a real spam can. If you're on the video watching me on YouTube or what have you, someone's showing a can of spam in the chat room. We always have a lot of action going on in the chat room. It's a lot of activity. A lot of information is exchanged. And it's light, nothing serious. It is Sunday, you know. Next subject matter, I'm not a COVID conspiracy person, but I know there's a term called gain of function that's used for not only COVID, but other things, and I am going to study that term more, and I thought I'd throw it out as a subject matter in case you wanted to talk about it. But for the life of me, they kept blanking that term out of my head. It took me months. I probably won't say much about it, but I just had to write that down and say it in the video and write it in a note because it's being erased out of my brain. Then I realized about Camp Dietrich from the Poisoner-in-Chief, where they were making all sorts of poisons and stuff in the United States back then. Of course they could make something and use, gain of function. Take an ordinary virus or disease and redesign it so that it can do different or more damage to someone. Basically weaponizing bacteria and bugs and viruses and things. Everything's weaponized. I think they I sit and think about this in my think tank outside while I'm grounding, which has been working for me. I think about it. I go, do they take a dictionary and go A to Z, and it's like, what can we weaponize under A? Today, let's weaponize B. I mean, I don't think they've missed anything. Whoever they are. Nobody knows who they are. I still don't know who's talking in my head. I know they're terrorists. I know it's a hive mind. I know I've been turned into a transhuman or a cyborg. They compliment me a lot, but I don't opt for that. I don't want someone compliment. I want nobody, but early in the morning when I don't have the air conditioner on or any devices, they're way off in the distance and I could hardly hear my telepathy, and that's when I ground and chill out. And I have to get up at like 5 in the morning, between 5 and 8. And usually around 6 o'clock, someone will chime in, "Hey, what are you doing outside?" And then it'll go away. They come in shifts. Now, I don't think schizophrenia starts at 8 in the morning. Last time I checked, mental illness didn't have a clock to time in. And I have written that in my diaries for so many years. It starts at 8 a.m., starts at 8 a.m. It's like, I mean, I predict it. Try to explain that. So back to gain of function, they've been erasing that out of my head for so long that I wrote it down. We'll talk about more of that, or you can talk about that as a topic. Do you think that they can do that with things that are around us? What do you say? Let me know. And we just did the suicide entrainment. I just talked about that, so I already jumped ahead on that, and I put an X, meaning that I talk about it. So if you do have suicide entrainment, you don't have any TI friends or anyone you can trust to talk things out, then get them, okay? Get those people in your life, and you need to use 988, do it. If you need to talk to a therapist, do it. If you do want to talk, if you want to just chill out and think about it, that's good too. Sometimes thinking things out are better than anything else. It's whenever we're in a hurry to solve things so quickly and we're in trauma or pain or in crisis mode, and we want a quick solution. So and then before I go to open mic, the last subject matter is we talk about, I hear Lockheed on these calls as being the main perpetrator of this technology and the fourth industrial revolution war weapons, the less than lethal weapons. And so I'm looking for a book on the history of Raytheon. I did put a link on the basics on companyprofile.com about the history of Raytheon and how they started out being a tube for radio company. So I'm looking for a book. If you've got any ideas, send me an email at djchris@targetedwest.com, or you can put in the comment section on the video wherever I'm posting this, or you can bring it up as a topic. Now we'll rip the page off. There's your everything I just spoke of. There's no other scripts here. This is a memory game I play. I'm almost 62, so I study, and then I come on here in front of the camera, in front of everyone, and see if I can remember anything, because I'm getting older, and I have a memory issue. Plus, I think they're manipulating my memory too. So we're going to switch to open mic, and you're free to speak. Just hit *6, and you're good to go. Here you go. Okay, you're open mic. Open mic, and we'll go to like I said, aging and TIs is on the open mic list. But I was talking to somebody on Twitter and talking about drugs and stuff, and one of the things I forgot to mention a lot is a Portuguese. Oh, hey, come on in. Who's this? Oh, there you are. I was talking about you, the Portuguese drug strategy I spoke of to you. Yeah, I posted that for everyone to read, and I believe that my targeting started when I had a small drug relapse, and many others have been involved in drugs and such, and ended up having the telepathy with interrogations and go and push you down deep. And I remember when I was high, the voices were trying to get me to get more and not get help. And instead, my neighbor was an AA member, and I went over there and got a list of meetings and got some help. Because once that helicopter was above my roof, I knew I was in some serious trouble, and I didn't want to go to jail. So, yeah, we quit that right away. Flushy down the toilet anyway. So the Portuguese drug strategy started in 2001, and the HIV rates in that country plummeted. They, instead of putting you in jail, they give you an option to talk to a council, a group of social workers and people that can help you get resources. So they'll throw you in jail there, and you can have up to 10 days use, 10 days amount of drugs anyway. Portuguese drug strategy is on Twitter, TI Club 3.
Yeah, we really need to adopt that in this country, especially just as a TI. Like, it would be really great if I could just use drugs going through this without worrying about like the legal repercussions. Right now, everything I do is legal, if in case anyone's listening. But it's all prescription. But it'd be great to not have to worry about that. It really helps me cope personally.
Yeah, in my case, I hadn't gone to therapy, and I had a lot of bad issues I haven't resolved, and I didn't. And then my dad stepped up and came through, and I decided I can't do that crap anymore. But it all started when I bought some cannabis from someone, and they laced it with methamphetamine, and then magically they had some available. And, that methamphetamine's the root of many people I've talked to that end up getting the popo on you. What do you think?
I think that they put nanoparticles in that shit, man.
I agree.
I only did it for about a year. My drug of choice is heroin. I was dating a girl whose drug of choice was meth, and I was like already shooting heroin. So I was like, fuck it, I'll try shooting this. I should not have just jumped into banging it, and it was just next level. I put it down pretty quickly, but ever since then, things have gotten weird.
Do you think it opened up your third eye and targeted you and made you lock you into something?
No, because I was taking a bunch of acid and stuff before that. Like, I think my third eye was open. I think that they just got some kind of particles in me that made it easy. I think they can cause, that disease where it's like electrosensitivity or whatever. There are a couple of people who have that.
Electrosmog sensitivity, yes.
Yeah, they have to move away from Wi-Fi and stuff like that. And I think that they can create that condition within us artificially by giving us, I think it's graphene. It's just a conductor. That just makes sense to me.
Well, read Dr. Stenninger's book, and she explains nano dust and nanoparticles and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I've even tried to get in touch with her recently. She's kind of fallen off the map.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I just read her book. She's a pretty good book.
Because I have all these ultrasound images and x-rays proving that I have implants, and I'm just trying to find someone to remove them. It's fucking impossible, seems like.
They got me through my brain entrainment. I don't believe I have any implants, but I could be wrong.
You gotta get really in-depth scans, and a lot of the implants they have now are non-metallic, so they don't really show up too well on an x-ray. You can kind of see them, but like, I think a lot of TIs who think that they just get V2K have non-metallic cochlear implants that rest like on your temporal bone and use bone conduction to carry sound. They can be really small, and that's why a lot of us have that scar behind our left ear, I think, is they go in from the back there. And just, I don't know, you must use a long ass needle to put some shit like that on your temporal bone, but
Well, I've never been passed out, and I was a fire volunteer, and I'm a light sleeper, so I doubt anybody did that to me. But I was high a few times in San Francisco, and it could have happened in some scenarios. So
yeah,
it would have to have been smaller, quicker, and more deceitful because I'm like, the self-aware king of the world. I'm like so. I don't like people around me. I don't like to be touched. I get freaked when I'm in a group. I have to be way in the corner watching. I have to have an exit. I've always been that way. It's not paranoia. It's just safety because I was trained as a police cadet. So I know, and like when you drive a car, you keep a very long distance between you and the car behind you in case you need to make a U-turn and do a Rockford 360 and jam out.
yeah.
And then I joined the police department, and they exploited me and then set me up for a crime when I was, say, 17, 18. And me and my friend, they're telling us, take pictures of us holding a shotgun in the car while we're cleaning it. The cars are unlocked. But then they made that a big scene because they didn't want me around. And that's the police department in the 70s, and that's when I realized that we're in trouble, man. And then I also found out through someone on the CB radio that he worked for the Telstar satellite. They can influence people and do mind control back then.
Yeah.
So this ain't new. It's just the same old game. Just new players, you knew you and knew them.
Yeah. I'm thinking about trying to leave the country to see if that makes a difference.
It won't. It will not make a difference.
Yeah.
You have to have the mental strength to ignore them. People say that on the calls all the time. Ignore those voices in your head. And what I do is I come up with just one word because the system, the way you communicate to it, it's got a loop. And when you talk to it, you have to say something in order for it to go to the next subject. So I'll just say ignore or something, and it shuts up. So what I do is I say the fewest amount of words and avoid it. But the music, what I play, helps a lot. I'm one of the lucky ones that music blocks it out.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. For me, it doesn't always. I can kind of hear it through the music.
Yeah, depending on the music and whatever, yeah, or depending on you. I mean, yeah, in my case, it helps. But my ears are from being a DJ, and I listen to different things in music that other people listen to. So it's weird because I'm locked into the tempo like a drum machine. That's how my brain works.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next subject matter. Well, you wouldn't be worried about this because you're a younger gentleman, but some of us older folks are aging and we're TIs, and this is for the chat room. Do you always feel that you cannot tell the difference between the targeting and your aging? Because that's a really hard one to differentiate between the two. I have inflammation and other issues as an aging senior who's targeted, and I sometimes cannot tell which is which. And sometimes when I have old people pain or issues, the telepathy will exploit it and take advantage of that and say, oh, we did that. It's like, no, you didn't. Trick me. Do you guys have that? Aging and being a TI, probably so many people are older that I know of that are going through this. It's amazing. And so that's a topic if you want to talk about. Don't shave your eyebrows. No, that's what Britney Spears did. I think I see people with a little line on their eyebrow. I wonder what that's all about. Oh, next one. Someone in the Twitter, when I asked for subject matter, said, how do you shield from a sonic weapon? And I put a question mark. How do you shield from a sonic weapon? Are we talking about audio in your head that you're hearing? Do you use music, like I said earlier? Do you use binaural beats? Do you use Dave Case's CD? What works for you? That's a question to the call. Anybody want to answer that? It's okay.
I've tried to use
it. Go ahead.
I've tried to use it, and I can hear. It's like it almost makes the voices louder.
So it did not work for you in that case?
No.
And you're getting the telepathy, of course, as I understand.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
Yeah. How long have you been getting your telepathy?
Just over a year.
Damn. Well, you're in the first stages. Well, I'm glad you got hooked up with all of us early because, back in 2002, I didn't have anybody to talk to. It freaked me out.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
And the doctor had that advantage over me, and she's like, well, try these different drugs. And I think I tried every one just out of, making sure it's not organic. And none of them helped or made me feel better. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they don't work.
No, and then I found out there's a Voice Hearers Network, which I don't know if all of you know about, but there's a whole group of people that September 15th is Voice Hearer Network Day, and they have meetings too, and they're hearing voices, and they just either cope with it or they have meetings there. So I don't know if you know this, but it's on my Twitter page, TI Club 3, and it's a Voice Hearers Network USA, and it's an offshoot from a group from the UK, and they have a group in Northern California in the Bay Area here too. So that's an alternative for you if you want to check that out.
But they don't relate to TIs, right? Because
no, they don't. They don't, but they have TIs in the group, and I think what we need to do, not infiltrate, but educate. What do you think? That would be a good person there. What do you think contacting them would do? Would it help us?
The person whose statements I read a few years ago, he seemed to be quite educated on us and was even joking about what TIs say about themselves. And when I read his story about, when the voices started and, just out of the blue when he was working in the kitchen or something, sounded to me like he was targeted with V2K, but what he had to say about us, I'm betting it wouldn't make a difference to contact them.
Yeah, well, we can still try if anybody wants to do that. It's probably a dead horse, but why not? I appreciate your input on that. I did not know that. I've been getting updates from them and newsletters and stuff for a few years, and have been not spying on them, but analyzing them, so I didn't know that. It's good to know. Thank you for that, HC. Next thing is meet and greet. This call should be a place where you can meet and greet. If anybody wants to introduce themselves on the call right now, we're going to do a meet and greet right now. I still have it on record, so don't give out personal information. But let's have a meet and greet. Anybody want to introduce themselves?
Hi, Chris, DJ Chris. This is I went by Nina Monique. I mean, I go by that. But Pauline is my name. My name given at birth. And anyway, thank you for hosting this. How are you doing?
It's a good day today. I made it through. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm glad so happy to hear you, hear your voice, and thanks for. It's been a bunch of months that I was up in the Bay Area, just escaping from a violent crime in Los Angeles. I came up to a small community I could, try to fit into, but of course it didn't take long before the whole thing. So now it's just, I read more about what you're talking.
You're cutting in and out a little bit. Oh, I think we lost our caller. Can you call back in, please, person who is in the Bay Area?
Can you hear me now?
There you are. Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm just accidentally hit mute with my ear. But sorry about that. I was just saying the hive mind thing is so prevalent up here. I'm finding it to be really significant. Somebody said that Santa Rosa, the Air Force Special Forces guy met this advocacy center, said that this was the mind control capital of the country. And I kind of believe that. So I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway. So, I don't know. You guys were always saying on Frank's call and how it's pretty bad up here, the targeting and all that. But anyway, I'm glad to be here. Thank you. Anyway, to speak to your comment about the Hearing Voices communities, yes, I just read this narrative about this woman who started hearing them at age 3. And so I know that I actually think V2K, it mimics, the voice to God stuff mimics real hearing voices. It's not that they're mutually exclusive in a way. I mean, they still produce the same effect, but one is synthetic and one is a real psychological condition. Or anyway, that's my understanding. I don't know what you guys think, but
yeah, and it's so seamless you can't tell the difference. And if it's technical, then you would be labeled organic.
Yeah, I'm not buying that if that's what they think, because from what I read of the guy's story, there's no way. It's not just something that happened, unless it's on purpose.
Well, thank you for your input for that. The time now is 7:42. Meet and greet. Anyone want to say hello?
Hi, this is Lauren. First time on your call.
Hey, welcome to the call, first timer. Well, you come to the right place because we're real calm, cool, and chilled out here. So I'm glad you're here.
So I have been told, and if she don't mind me saying, it was Tranquility. Hi, Tranquility. We just got back.
She told me you'd be here. I'm glad you made it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We just got back from Detroit, Michigan, and we did the rally there. And I don't know if you all have seen the video, but I did put it out there in space. So, the big old whirlwind. So it's going around, but I don't know if you've seen it per se yourself, but it was a pretty good rally. We're just trying to get the word out about these torturous crimes. And I think we did a pretty good job at it, but that was just one of a few. And I would just say it's time for all TIs to step up and step out. Like I said in the video, if you don't talk about what's going on with you, you will be pushed in a corner and tortured, perhaps, to death. I pray that doesn't happen, but we all know that can happen even if you do speak out. But my thing is, we need to bring more awareness to these crimes because the perpetrators have got the upper hand. They've got the technology, they got the manpower, they've got the money, and we don't have any of those. But I just believe that if we can reach the right person, then we will have everything we need. So I would just ask you to encourage the people on your calls to come out of their shell or their corner or out of hiding or whatever. And I please don't misunderstand me when I say that, because I understand being afraid about all of this. It's just that I really don't have the mentality of being afraid of anything because I have a God that tells me I'm not supposed to fear no man. But I understand and I get it. If you are more likely to stay to yourself, I understand that. But we have got to get the people to come out and get the other people who are not being targeted, who are not Havana syndrome, to speak up and speak out.
Sorry, I'm just
so
that's I agree with you so strongly, because we have this PI day coming up, and we have all these people come to go to the Capitol on January 6th for fucking no reason. Well, I mean, they had a reason, but like this is a much bigger purpose. We should have much stronger motivation than they did, in my opinion. That's it.
Are you talking about the insurrection January 6th?
Yeah, the quote-unquote insurrection, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, but, I mean, if you look at it, they had a lot of people out there, you know, and I'm not applauding anything. I'm just saying it's real funny how different ones can really make an impact. But when it comes to targeted individuals and Havana syndrome victims, it's, you know, it's almost like we're extinct, you know?
It's because of the money involved with the technology so much. It's trillions of dollars, and it's the best kept secret out in plain sight in the military industrial complex, and everybody pretty much in government that's connected knows about it, you know, and it's worldwide.
Yeah, well, like I said, they have the manpower, they have the money, and obviously they have the time.
We have the manpower, honestly. We have the manpower. We just don't have the organization.
So that's what I'm saying. I believe it's more of us than it is of them. You know, really all they have to do is sit behind their machine and their computer and just push whatever button on us that they want to push. Or they'll go out and hire somebody to do the side jobs, the leaser of the jobs, if you want to say. And so, but I believe it's more people that are targeted than are not targeted. And I think that's where our manpower comes in, or woman power, which is what you want to look at.
I agree, and you know, there's a lot of us, and once you get the word out, and there's just right amount of people talking about at the dinner table, you're going to have cohesion, and you're going to have everybody involved, and everybody's going to demand change. It'll be the biggest subject matter in the world, and it'll take over. I agree. We just got to keep getting that word out safely. Get a little good trouble, but get it out safely and get it done. We got to talk, other than talking to us ourselves like the preacher talking to the choir. We need to get out and talk to others. I agree.
I've talked to my pastor. I've talked to my parents. My parents know what's up. Luckily, I'm really blessed with that. I've talked to a ton of people, but it just seems like everyone's scared to be targeted themselves. So I feel like we should get on buses and just head to the Capitol, but you know, not violently.
Well, unfortunately, I have a senior I take care of, so I can put her on the bus with me, but you know, well, of course, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I knocked myself out, I believe. So I was just saying, are you all familiar with the Million Man March, where they took buses and just campground in D.C.?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, of course.
So if we really think about it, just like I said, it's more, I believe, of us than it is of them. It should be no problem getting 100,000. Or I believe it's actually a million people that are being targeted. So if you ask me, it shouldn't be a problem getting 1 million people. It's just that they already know that most of us can't work. for whatever reason, be it that we're disabled or we can't work because of the mental telepathy and the mind control and all of that, which keeps us from holding the job down. And they know that we really pretty much don't have the income. Most of us are living on the street. I know what it's all about. Even though I owned my own home, I still was living in my car because it was just too much frequencies in here for me to stay. Which I am back in my house now, but they're bouncing me off of my bed every time I sit on it, pretty much. But yeah, so we have to have a real strong base of people who are just going to say, excuse the expression, fuck it, I don't care no more. What they're going to do is what they're going to do, and what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do. And just pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and go sit on Capitol until they say, oh, okay, civilians are out there, so they must be getting targeted too. Look how many people are out there. Looks like hundreds of thousands. If that's what it's going to take for us to do, that's what we're going to have to do. Because otherwise, and it's nothing wrong with us talking on these conference calls, because I used to host them myself, and I thought I had a pretty positive one. But, we can talk to each other till we turn blue. And I'm not discouraging you all not to do that. Talk it out, because sometimes you have to vent. You have to talk to somebody that understands your language. But we need to be talking to the people who are not being targeted. Those are the people, as far as I'm concerned, that needs to hear from us. So, and I'm going to end with that, but thank you for giving me a minute to speak on here.
Thank you. Somebody
no problem. That's what meet and greet is about. Meet and greet is our new little open mic thing here. And thank you for your input, the man with the Japanese words. Let's switch to the next. I put on Twitter about FBI surveillance planes. We don't talk about that much. They're using them all the time. They surveil one guy 490 times. And I keep catching an airplane flying over here, but I did some studying, and it doesn't look like it's one of them. But I put an article on my TI Club 3 if you're interested in reading about, as I call it, air theater. And the last but not least, I just bought the Sharon Weinberger from James' recommendation from the Tuesday and Thursday FFTI calls, and it's about the history of DARPA, and that's Sharon Weinberger, and I'll be talking about that in the next few weeks. And that is all I have. Open mic now. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to take a little break.
Take a toke for me.
I just have to fix my neck. My neck hurts from looking at the computer. So your sister, the chat room we're talking, the sister gets I get the interrogations too. Yeah, lovely. And I'm sure, what's the person with the Japanese name? What do you want to be called?
You can call me Chang. You can call me Chang.
Chang?
Sure.
Okay, Chang. I used to work with Mr. Chang at the bank. We were a tough team. The bank manager sent us out to repo the cars, and we'd get a payment out of him. Mr. Chang was cool, and we worked together to get those car payments in.
Right on. That sounds like a cool job.
It was a horrible job, and it gave me bad karma, and they fired me or laid me off, and then my car got repoed, so it was karma. See?
That's kind of funny.
I went from a brand new 87 Thunderbird to a 65 Dodge Dart with the headliner falling down. But I started back up again. But yeah, I learned when I worked at the bank that they're terrible. Banksters are horrible people. And they influenced me after they laid me off to buy things. I didn't have a job, and I was buying a car, a Rolex, a cell phone. That's a cell phone in 1987, mind you. That's not where you go down to Verizon and get one. Yeah. They had to install it in my car and put a thing in the window and run wires, and hook it up to my horn, and it was like 23 cents a minute. And it's like, what am I doing? So, I've been influenced. That influencing technology has been around, and that's what you do when you're a bankster. You want to get even with somebody that you don't like. You influence them to ruin their credit. But I recovered. But they do that. It's part of the art of war is to reduce your money so that you have no way to fight back. We have 5 minutes left before I shut the recording off, and then you can hear yourself on YouTube tomorrow and BitChute tonight if you want.
Oh. Chris?
Yes.
I couldn't find the article you mentioned on TargetedWest about Feinstein accusing, I guess, the CIA of hacking, but I found some online just by, Googling it, but what's the date on yours? Because it looks like 2014 for the date on Feinstein.
Yeah, that's when it happened, was 2014. You got it. Did you see it? Amazing, huh?
Well, but yeah, I'll go back because I thought maybe you had something more recent. Okay, because I couldn't find it on TargetedWest. But I'll go back and look at the article.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. That lady has been with me from my very first show, by the way. 21 shows. We're on our 21st show now.
Bye.
She's almost VIP. But yeah, the CIA hacked Dianne Feinstein's congressional group that was the oversight committee for the CIA, and John Brennan had to tell them, yeah, we hacked you. But they didn't go to jail, did they? But if I hacked the Congress, I'd be in the federal prison eating potato chips, wearing a jumpsuit.
Well, those chips aren't that bad.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm too young and pretty to go to prison, mister.
Shame. Well, me too.
Well, I've already been in prison. See this whole cut right here? Me and a gang fought for weeks. Yeah, I won. No, I'm kidding. My dog bit me.
That sucks.
I've never been in hospital in my life until my dog bit me. And they had to move this part to my nose, so that was a whole nother story. But no prison. The reason I bring that up is there was a lot of prison people at the hospital because it was county and it was trauma. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's jail people everywhere. And I found out today there's a mental hospital around the corner from here, down the street. It used to be a youth center, and now they were housing crazy mentally ill murderers there. Oh my goodness, I didn't know that, and I found that it's on my Twitter page.
Does anybody else hear crazy accusations over V2K? Like, just
I get them all day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
they will never come to your house. They will never hurt you. They're just gonna talk you to your death and torture you with words. Just make the words not mean anything. Just say they don't mean anything to me.
Yeah, they have come to my house actually though. They came to the front door like 2 different nights about a year ago, just to intimidate me.
Well, that's right. You just got started a year ago too. So mine first started with the sheriff on the roof of my house. So that's when mine started.
Who's the gentleman that just said they came to the front door? Who came to the front door?
Someone in a mask. Both times. First time was a guy. Yeah, first time was a guy ski mask. Second time was first time was a white guy in a ski mask. Second time was a black guy in a ski mask.
So because they were in a ski mask, so I guess I'm not sure. How do you know that those
Their hands.
are your V2K people.
I mean, why else would I don't? No, there's no other reason for someone to show up and stand at the side window of the front door for an hour.
What they do that. At my previous, and I don't have V2K or subliminals or anything, but at my previous apartment from hell, are you kidding? They were always outside my window or outside my door, especially if at night if I was going to go to bed, because that's their job to threaten, terrorize, and surveil us.
Yeah, and then they see how your brain reacts to the remote technology. But by the way, I'm done recording. You guys will keep talking in just a moment. This is DJ Chris from TargetedWest.com. I'm turning the recording off. We'll be back next week on your favorite platform to watch the video. Thank you.